Hey, hey, hey. Time for another Out of This World story from our space. Partners and family members of people with BPD often describe the relationship as an emotional roller coaster with no end in sight. You may feel like you're at the mercy of your loved one's BPD symptoms, trapped unless you leave the relationship or the person takes steps to get treatment. Today on our space, you're not alone. You have more power than you think. BPD wife keeps threatening divorce, constant emotional abuse. I've hit my breaking point. As per the title, I'm not going to get into the details of what I've been through, as it would take all night to write, and I don't claim to be perfect. I'm sure I have shortcomings, but I can't help but think I am in a no-win scenario. I didn't know what I was getting into. She wanted to marry me. I was apprehensive as I knew a little bit about her condition beforehand, but I thought our relationship wasn't like what my limited knowledge of BPD relationships were like. I was admittedly naive to what BPD was. Everything was great while we dated, but after we tied the knot 8 months ago, she changed. I moved cities to be with her, moved jobs to her city. I made all the sacrifices to make our marriage work. I got rid of most furniture and stuff from my old place and moved to her place. I can't express how much I regret this decision. Shortly after our wedding, the once nice woman I married turned into a critical, emotionally abusive partner. The promises she made me never materialized. Her spending was out of control. Luckily, I refused having a joint account with her. And if I even mentioned it, I was met with a barrage of insults. I soon found myself as her lowest priority. My feelings meant nothing. My apparent flaws became all we ever spoke about. She started yelling at me, and if I dare rebuke what she said about me and defend myself, I was a rude a-hole. I soon just withdrew myself, avoiding her in the hopes to prevent setting her off. This just amplified her disdain for me. Soon, the divorce threats came, each month passing, more frequently as did the personal insults. I found myself asking her to be nicer to me. That didn't help at all. I tried being reasonable and taking some ownership of my apparent misdeeds in the hope she could maybe reciprocate and acknowledge hers. Wrong again. The divorce threats increased to every other day this month. I took a step back and really reviewed what my life has turned into, and frankly, the embarrassment of divorcing so soon pales in comparison to my fear of continuing. I've never been in a situation so beyond my comprehension or control. So devoid of reason, feeling as though I'm a terrible person. My life and living situation has never felt so uncertain. My attempts to change, never observed. I find myself with an ever-present background anxiety I never had before. Tonight, after another demeaning comment from her, I point blank said the way she treats me needs to change, or I'm leaving, and that I've had enough. I told her I won't be put down or insulted or criticized and asked her if she was willing to stop it. Her answer was no and to move out. I just put an application in for an apartment and believe this nightmare may soon have ran its full course. She found out, then twisted everything to be my fault. I just can't do this anymore. I'm trying to remain positive and to not lose my self-esteem. I feel like I was played. Sucks. I'm so sorry, OP. This is a rough situation. No one deserves this kind of treatment by anyone, not to mention a spouse. People with borderline personality disorder commonly experience relationships that are chaotic, intense, and conflict-laden. This can be especially true for romantic relationships. If you're considering starting a relationship with someone who has BPD or are in one now, it's important to educate yourself about the disorder and what to expect. But above all, always know that you deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Update. Left the BPD wife. Well, posted I was getting ready to leave about a month ago. I found out shortly after she had several affairs. She begged me to stay and she'd never redo it again. I decided to sit for a few weeks and process things. No effort or empathy from her as I expected. Today, found out she was messaging a new interest at her new job a couple weeks after she said this to me. Oh, her last employer pushed her out the door. They found out she was banging a coworker, burned her bridge there. Multiple previous coworkers of hers messaged me to support me and ensure I knew. This all after she promised to never do it again. My gut was right again. Instantly packed all the stuff that I could and moved it to my dad's place, lining up a place in my original city and heading back. Thought I'd be hurting right now, but all I feel is relief to be out of that nightmare. I got to see the real her this evening as I moved out, swearing at me, name-calling, telling me she's gonna F the new guy. I said best of luck to the poor bastard and enjoy your toxic, empty life. F yeah, freedom! If your gut says run, run. Don't look back. They are mentally ill and your time is wasted being with them. Things can be better if you quit caretaking them. If you haven't read the book Stop Caretaking the Borderline or Narcissist by Margolis Fieldstead, you need to. It helped me more than anything else. Highly, highly recommend it. Take back your life. Sending love. Cheers. You're right, OP. I think we often don't give our gut the credit it deserves. And a lot of the time, we sacrifice our own safety and well-being in order to stay and fix and make things work. But we can't fit a square peg into a round hole. We can only do so much. I'm proud of you for leaving such a toxic situation, OP. Update. You cannot fix her or make this work. This is a post for men dating or married to a person with BPD. This likely applies with gender reversal, but this post is mainly directed for the men of this sub. I just left my BPD wife. It hurts, but you have to leave, whether you have kids or are not there yet. You need to understand, they really don't care about you. It's all about them. She will say she loves you, but there usually is always a follow-up like, but you're mean, rude, abusive, etc. There's nothing you can or could have done to stop her from viewing you this way. It's impossible to keep your BPD wife from not feeling abandoned. It's impossible to be there 100% of the time to talk her down, while also dealing with her abuse, without being upset with how you were treated, while keeping your job, your friends, family, your own separate life, and your own needs met. This is a no-win scenario, my friend. You will always be wrong in her eyes no matter what you do. You will lose touch on reality, with your self-esteem and your self-worth. These women cannot, I repeat, cannot, give you a millionth of what they expect. You are a human being with legitimate needs, and you will never have these intimate needs met from them. They can only take. It isn't worth it. You can't fix it. You can't fix them. The love you felt in the beginning from her was not real. It was a fantasy in her head that she put on you. The love was no more than a Disney fantasy, and you were just a character that she assigned you. It was never you, as you are who she loved. No amount of logic or talking can make them understand your feelings, your intentions, your needs, or that you truly love her. She will look elsewhere for her fantasy once she realizes you aren't the way she imagined. There is no way you could ever live up to it. The more you try to, the more she will hate you. Let go of the hope that she can see you the way you see yourself and find a healthy woman. You can't fix her. You need to leave because it's only a matter of time before she goes elsewhere to repeat the cycle, likely with you still clinging on. Take my advice and go before it does, or more likely, you find out it already has happened. Only she can decide to get help, and she won't when you stay and tolerate her psychosis. No matter how much you beg, you need to look after you for a change. You need to get you back, so you can find a woman who can love you back. Just remember, she will likely move on fast while toying with you, keeping you as a fallback while she fills her needs elsewhere. Her words of love are empty, as are her reassurances that there is no one else. The new guy, victim, is going to feel what you feel sooner or later. Be happy you're out and suck up the hurt, knowing it's for the best long term. You deserve a healthy, loving relationship where you are treated with dignity, reciprocation, and respect. Settling for what you currently have is betraying yourself. It isn't up to you to save someone who is only going to destroy you with zero guilt or remorse. You are not alone in this. You will be happy again if you follow this advice. You deserve to receive what you give. Always remember that. I hope this helps, even just one person from going through what I have. Life is too short to stay in this hell they create. Best of luck and chin up, bud. DM me if you need a chat. You're right, OP. It's tough in these situations because most times, people feel the need to help and fix others, despite the fact that they're hurting us. We lose ourselves in the process and forget that we can't pour from an empty cup. Update. Advice for those of you stuck ruminating, dwelling on your person with BPD trauma, and how to move forward. There are copious amounts of advice threads here on how to focus on moving forward. I will add some of mine to it for those feeling stuck. This advice is a culmination of 20 years of adult relationships, some of which that have ended had me stuck for a long time. These are the actions I took to reclaim myself back and build myself into a person with good self-esteem and boundaries. I recently ended a marriage with a person with BPD after infidelity, and so far so good with these strategies. First things first, you have to understand that you didn't make this person who they are, force them to do what they did, or hold any responsibility to help them see the error of their ways. What they did to you was not your fault, regardless of any mistakes or flaws you have done, providing what you did was not something abhorrent in the realm of what they did to you. If you did buy into the circle of a toxicity, own your role, recognize it, and work on dealing with that behavior so you don't continue it in the future. Understand you were victimized, but do not adopt the role of being a victim. It's okay to accept you were victimized during a period of time, by this person, but be aware that adopting the role of a victim does not yield you any positive gains regardless of sympathy it grants you from others. Don't get addicted to sympathy. Taking the victim role sets you up with a target on your back for predators and will be a self-fulfilling prophecy in the future. It also burns out your support system. Block them everywhere, no contact, period. Remove them from social media, or even better, yourself from social media. Never visit their social media again, ever. Analyze where the early red flags were and how you talked yourself out of proactively protecting yourself or stopping yourself from giving yourself emotionally to someone raising them. After you have analyzed the situation, accept you may not find all the answers you think you need. Understand you will never fully understand why this person did what they did. They likely don't either. What you are likely trying to do, if you continue past the thought of, what can I learn from this to avoid the next time, and start going into, what could I have done to have kept this person from doing this to me, is crossed into analyzing too much and are currently looking for hope to retain this toxic relationship. Do not carry forward with the toxicity you are trying to avoid. Don't hold on to hope things can improve. It won't. Accept it won't. The end. If you find yourself ruminating about the hurt, the loss, the pain over and over, step back. Be mindful of what you are feeling and accept that feeling. At the same time, give yourself 5 minutes to ruminate. Set a timer. When the time is up, you get up and go for a walk, grab a coffee, hit the gym or visit a friend, etc. Just get up and do something else. Every week, lower that timer by a minute. On the 6th week, you get up after the first second and go do one of the new habits you have formed over the last few weeks. You need to break the habit of being stuck in these negative thoughts. It's very important to do so you can move forward. Start doing self-care. Eat well, practice mindfulness, exercise and socialize. Even if you have no friends, get out into group activities and meet new people. Allow connections to happen naturally without expecting them to happen. Feeling urgency to build a new relationship will ensure you grab the lowest hanging fruit available, and that is something that a BPD would do. People can sense desperation and you will be one giving off red flags. Relationships that are a higher chance of being successful happen when you are at peace with yourself. Urgency creates desperation. Desperation is an unattractive quality even if you have 10 out of 10 looks to anyone with a healthy view on relationships. Be cautious on connecting too deeply too quickly to people. Get to know them before investing any emotional attachments. Look for those red flags during this time. Learn to love being alone. Learn to love yourself. Understand you are lovable and others will see this, that are worth loving back. It happens when it happens. It's not a race. It's okay to be alone. Alone is better than not being alone with someone who isn't good to you. Go have some fun. Travel. Get out there. Learn about cultivating healthy relationships and setting boundaries. Start with internal boundaries to improve yourself, then work on external boundaries. Learn to say no to those who cross them. I have to get to work, but these few tips are a good start to getting on with being happy in your life and leaving the BS behind you. This is some solid advice, OP. In times like these, it's important for us to stick together. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I'm sure you'll help those going through the same thing. Update. Hey, looking for advice, nothing major. Found my ex-wife cheating back in April 2022. Subsequently, left her. Divorce finalized this month. I found what I'm missing is her spare car fob key and one of my winter jackets. Side note, she messed around in a post-separation relationship I had contacting the new girlfriend I had causing me issues. Made some threats as well. Do I bother mailing her this key fob back, or should I just chuck it in the trash? Cheers. The responses go as follows. First up, she could turn this into a safety issue and play victim or drama in general. Just throw it away like she did your relationship. Next person says, you don't owe her anything, so why bother send her anything to her? Yet another person says, just throw it. You owe her nothing. And to think that you're the one who owed you is her. So why do you concern yourself for her key fob? Other thing that you can do, if you don't know yet, is keep it and save it, if in the future she asks for it. I doubt this, but who knows? Take your own advice, OP. No contact, period. Trash it and keep moving forward. Don't look back. Do you have a similar story? Share it with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on Our Space. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you soon.